Hello again. This video's bout Whispering Ice wielding Trickster. Icestorm is a peculiar skill, accessible only by equipping the Whispering Ice staff. The skill is a simple one, very similar to Firestorm, but instead of fire, it deals cold damage. Another property of it is that it deals more base cold damage and has increased duration the more intelligence you have. It's an intelligence stacking build. With 2000 intelligence, which is not that hard to reach, one Icestorm will last 3 seconds. You can have up to 5 of them at any time, so you won't need cast speed at all. Additionally, you won't need to link the sockets in the staff to make them affect the built-in skill. For a spell-casting intelligence stacking character, it's best to select one starting in the upper part of the skill tree. Pick Trickster. If you can pick Trickster, it's recommended to do so, especially as you have to spend 3 seconds standing still to have 5 Icestorms, and in our case, to get 4 Intensify stacks. Usually, armor is the only weak point of Tricksters, but with the enormous bonus to ES from over 2k of intelligence, that won't be an issue. The 10k of energy shield will protect you from being one-shotted, while Soul Drinker and Polymath will ensure you're always on full energy shield. Icestorm is not very good at clearing maps. It has a short delay and slowly ramping up damage, and if you want to get the most out of it, you probably want to link it with concentrated effect support, which would lower your AoE. You can swap support gems or use Aureus End to solve this issue. The mediocre block chance, spell suppression chance, and chaos inoculation, on top of the already mentioned 10k of energy shield, 30k of evasion rating, ES overleech, very fast ES leech, and ES gained on kill make it one of the tankiest build we've tested. Not even DOTs can kill it. Clear speed is quite alright with the Aureus End Flask or increased AoE support gem. Single target damage is good, especially against stationary targets while Frost Shield is active. The build is quite expensive. To get a lot of intelligence you will need synthesized bases and other esoteric modifiers. There are 2 core unique items in this version, the Whispering Ice and Anathema Ring. Other uniques are much less important and can be replaced with rare items if needed, especially if you require more resistances or attributes. The Whispering Ice is the most important element of the build. It grants the Icestorm skill, which will be supported by socketed gems. Look for the high intelligence roll. Stampede are great with Frostblink as you can use it more often. These boots also grant a lot of evasion and energy shield, movement speed, mana regeneration rate, and you can anoint them too. Sin Trek have even more energy shield and evasion than the Stampede, dexterity, and intelligence. You can use them if that's all you really care about. Astramentus is a very cheap option for the amulet that grants you tons of attributes. Switch it later on for a better one. Eyes of the Great Wolf. There are a few modifiers that can make this amulet good. 16% increased attributes is the best one. Increased cold damage, global defenses, global critical strike chance, and spell damage are other great implicits. Your skill tree will allow you to get 3 additional maximum power charges, extending your curse limit to 6 with Anathema. The ring also gets you some intelligence. The skill tree is constructed specifically to accommodate 2 split personality jewels. Get ones with extra intelligence and energy shield. If you have enough strength, place Brute Force Solution near Overcharge for more intelligence. If you have enough dexterity, place Fertile Mind near Infused for more intelligence. Nature's Patience from Natural Affinity is great. It makes you progressively stronger and more durable as you stand still, which you probably will do. There are tons of useful keystones you can get from Forbidden Flame and Flesh. Spellbreaker, Bomb Specialist, Born in the Shadows, Mistwalker, Unstable Infusion, Deadly Infusion, and even Harness the Void are all very good. Your auras are Hatred, Discipline, Purity of Elements, and Clarity. In a Watcher's Eye, you can get Cold Penetration with Hatred, or any Clarity or Discipline modifier. They're all good. Intelligence is your priority. Try to accumulate over 2000 of it. Intelligence stat is a suffix, making it harder to get the necessary dexterity and elemental resistances. That's why it's recommended to use Purity of Elements skill and pick Dexterity from the skill tree. You won't need maximum life or chaos resistance, it's a chaos inoculation build. A lot of energy shield comes from intelligence, but as in most gear pieces it comes in the form of a prefix, try to get some of it too. Evasion rating is equally important. Spell suppression is yet another defensive layer, much harder to acquire because it's a suffix, so you may not want to bother with it at all. To increase damage, look for critical strike modifiers. We heavily recommend a hunter-influenced helmet which can increase your intelligence by 10%, 12% if the mod is elevated. Add to that the generic intelligence bonus and energy shield. On a dex int basis you may also get dexterity and spell suppression chance. We recommend body armor with evasion and energy shield. Seek prefixes that would increase said ES and evasion. For suffixes, intelligence and increased attributes. For eldritch mods, increased auras effect, cold damage, less damage taken per intelligence, or crit modifiers. Gloves don't have many unique additions. Seek the most basic mods like intelligence and elemental resistances. For eldritch mods, try to get increased damage per 100 intelligence, and chance to unnerve enemies. It's nearly mandatory to get a belt with synthesized implicit that increases intelligence by up to 18%. After that, simply add flat intelligence and elemental resistances. An amulet should be synthesized in the same way as belt, to increase intelligence with its implicit. If that's out of your reach, you can also get a Crusader's suffix for increased intelligence, Shaper's suffix for increased attributes, and a prefix for increased damage per intelligence. Once again, we recommend a synthesized ring with increased intelligence. Other modifiers should grant you flat intelligence, elemental resistance, or other attributes. Try to get a jewel with added intelligence or other required attributes, elemental resistances, or critical strike modifiers if you don't need them. Cold to the core is the most important notable on a large cluster jewel. Blanketed snow is the second best one. You won't need more notables, instead, try to get attributes or intelligence on the smaller nodes. Place it at the end of your path near Zealot's Oath. In its sockets, you will socket split personalities. Flasks. Bottled Faith increases damage and crit chance, making it great for nearly all builds making use of critical strikes. If you haven't invested much into critical strike chance or damage, pick Atziri's Promise instead of Bottled Faith. It increases your damage and chaos resistance. If you feel like you could improve your clear speed, use this Oriath's End. It makes enemies explode on death, which is great on maps with high monster density. For magic flasks, use a Jade Flask with increased evasion rating, Silver Flask for Onslaught with increased cast speed or critical strike chance, and Quicksilver Flask with increased movement speed. Icestorm is a skill that comes with the Whispering Ice Staff. All the support gems in it don't have to be linked. It's very basic, deals cold damage. Link it with Inspiration, Energy Leech, which is excellent with Soul Drinker. Intensify, Concentrated Effect, Cold Penetration, and Power Charge on critical. The concentrated effect can be swapped for the increased area of effect support for mapping. Frost Blink is a mobility spell that leaves chilled ground at the initial and terminal place of blink. Set up Vortex as your movement key. It leaves a chilled ground because it's not always optimal to use your only high cooldown mobility skill to do so. Chilled ground makes enemies standing on it chilled, increasing cold damage they take, equal to the effect of chill caused by skills linked with bone chill support. Use the divergent version if you can. Use a low-level Arcane Surge support too for an Arcane Surge buff that gets you more mana regeneration rate and cast speed. Discipline grants additional energy shield and increases energy shield recharge rate. Very important defensive aura. Hatred is used exclusively for more cold damage. It will be hard to get enough elemental resistances. Use Purity of Elements for additional resistances and complete immunity to all elemental ailments. Link these expensive auras with Enlightened support to lower their reservation cost. With over 2k of intelligence, Clarity will reserve a relatively small portion of your mana pool, while still being very useful, as mana regeneration may be an issue in this build. Frostbite lowers cold resistance of the affected enemy, which in turn increases your cold damage. Elemental weakness lowers all types of elemental resistances, cold resistance included. Use enfeeble to lower the accuracy rating and damage of the enemy. Punishment is an alternative that can be included in this setup if you can spare a socket for it. It would increase your damage against enemies on low life. Ball lightning hits very rapidly, making it able to apply all the linked curses even if Hextouch allows you to do so only once per hit. Keep it at level 1. Link all these gems with Hextouch support and socket in your body armor. Use a low-level Immortal Call. It makes you take less elemental and physical damage for a short while. Immortal Call will be activated after taking a certain amount of damage after linking with cast when damage taken. Keep it at a low level 2. Hits against enemies cursed with Assassin's Mark have a much higher crit chance and crit multiplier. You can apply Assassin's Mark manually, but it's easier to do so with Arcanist brand. It's optional, you may want to utilize this gem socket for something more useful. Frost Shield drains your energy shield, which is insignificant with Soul Drinker and Energy Leech support. In turn, it creates a dome that reduces damage taken while inside of it. It also significantly boosts your spell critical strike chance. If you plan to fight pinnacle bosses, it's mandatory. Kill all 3 bandits in Act 2. The additional passive skill points are much more beneficial than any of their offerings. You should either pick Soul of Solaris, or Soul of Lunaris, depending on the type of content you're aiming for. For regular mapping, Lunaris seems like a superior option as it makes you faster and more durable against ranged hits. Solaris is great for pinnacle bossing. Soul of Tukahama is the minor god we would recommend. It grants an additional physical damage reduction per second you've been stationary, which you should be, while fighting bosses, and you're quite susceptible to physical hits. This meandering passive skill tree should grant you tons of intelligence by twisting and turning around the upper parts of it. It is also there you can get more maximum power charges, so don't forget to grab them. You will have an opportunity to allocate Energy Leech, Evasion, Energy Shield, Aura, Critical, Mana, and Elemental related passives. Don't forget about the Chaos Inoculation Keystone. For masteries, pick Evasion and ES Mastery for evasion sourced from intelligence, ES Leech Mastery for 10% of it to be applied instantly, Crit Mastery for more crit multiplier against unique enemies, Attribute Mastery for extra intelligence per passive, Caster Mastery for an extra intensify, Mana Mastery for increased reservation efficiency, Energy Shield Mastery for readjusted stun threshold, Elemental Mastery to have 25% chance to treat resistance values as inverted, Reservation Mastery for 10% increased aura effect, and Staff Mastery for increased defenses. That is all for this guide. Good luck with it, and don't forget to like and subscribe, we'd appreciate it. So long.